Okay, class. Assalamualaikum and very good morning. So we continue the relationship. One of the relationship for link between class or objects. So this is inheritance and generalization. So this is one of the relationship that I told you already in the previous video. Okay, so inheritance uh, define a relationship among classes where one class share the structure uh, or behavior of one or more classes. Okay, so in inheritance, they call it one class become a superclass and another one is a subclass. So normally the subclass will inherit the attribute or operation from the superclass. Okay, so the benefit of the inheritance is uh, the subclass share the superclass some of the superclass attribute, or they can share the operation as well. Okay, so let's say you have one class, they call it I'll give you one example. Yeah, let's say we create one class, they call it, let's say person, for example. Yeah, persons. And then you define uh, you add the attribute, for example, okay, ID, okay, and then you have another attribute, they call it name, for example. Yeah, okay, and you have another operation, for example, function, example, add record, for example. Yeah, okay, uh, okay, so this is a class. Yeah, uh, one class. Okay, and then you try to create another class, they call it a student, for example. Students. Okay, so some of the attribute in the person is actually will be used in the student. Yeah. So this is a reason uh, we can use the inheritance concept, yeah, to inherit the ID and name. So when you create this student class, so you don't need to define uh, again, yeah, the attribute such as ID and name, or let's say the operation is same for add record. Okay, let's say you got here uh, different operation, for example. Yeah, you got update, for example. Yeah, update subject. This is example. Yeah, okay. So when you inherit, okay, so this is a, where is it? Okay, this one. Yeah, why you cannot do it? Oh, come on, come on. The okay, where is it? Where is it? Okay, yeah. Okay, generalization. Okay, so the students inherit the person. Okay, so this is a relationship notations. Yeah, so that means the student will inherit whatever attribute or operation from the person. Okay, okay, I give you an example. Another example. So let's say you create another class, they call it uh, staff, yeah, staff. Okay, so staff also can inherit the person attributes. Okay, take generalization. Okay, staff inherit the person attribute. Okay, example, staff got staff ID. Okay, so the staff ID is actually, oh sorry, this is staff. Okay, and then I create the attribute here, different attribute from the person. Okay, let's say we got staff ID. Okay, okay. So this is I change this one. This is uh, my card. Yeah, NRIC. Okay, National Record Identifications. Okay, all Malaysian citizens got NRIC. Yeah, so we don't need to recreate in staff, and so then we just uh, inherit, yeah, the person. This is subclass, this is superclass, this is subclass, sorry. So if you have a different operation, then you create a staff operation, yeah? So they have let's say update staff record. Okay, so this is example of generalization. Okay. And the benefit is you don't need to repeat the attribute, the same attribute that you use in a student or staff. Okay. Uh, so when you want to design your class, where you want to use the generalization, make sure that some of the attribute can be shared. So this also called reusability. Okay. So when you create another class, then you don't need to define the same attribute. Okay. So this is also depend on the requirement of your system. So not all class have to create the generalization, generalization concept where you can inherit the super class. Okay. So inheritance consideration. So since inheritance relationship does not relate individual object, the relationship is not a name. Yeah. So multiplicity is meaningless. Okay. So in uh, inheritance, so you don't need to give a name, name of the relationship, because it's very different from the composition, aggregation, and association. Yeah. So theoretically, there is no limit to the number of level in hierarchy. Yeah. So in actual practice, level need to be fairly limited. Uh, Normal practice in C++, the hierarchies or the subclass limit to 3 to 5 levels. Okay. Uh, I believe that if the hierarchy is too many, or you very difficult to maintain your application. Yeah? So bear in mind that this is become uh, all this is become your application or your program. Yeah? After you complete your class, so this is a mapping. Yeah? You can mapping to the uh, coding of your application. So when you create, let's say you create a lot of generalization. Example, this one you inherit the you inherit the superclass. So it's very complex. Very complex. So my advice is when you design your application, so make sure that you ensure that your class uh, have a capability of loose, should be less coupling. So this is one type of drawback of inheritance, because all the class is to couple with the superclass. So when you delete this one, it will affect another class. So this is very difficult to maintain. So this is one of the drawback of generalization. So if you compare with the association, it's very straightforward, very simple. So you can delete it, okay, and then it will not affect your class. If you delete this one, let's say you delete this one, it will affect the superclass. Or you delete here, so it will affect to the course. Okay, let's say you add another attribute, uh, name, address, for example. Okay, so this attribute will affect all the subclass. So you have to maintain, you have to make sure that the the parameter pass from one class to another class will be updated, in all classes. Otherwise, you got error in your program. Okay, so association very simple implementation. So you can add here. If you delete here or you delete here, then it will not affect their another class. Okay, what get inherited? So subclass inherit its parents, attribute, operator, and relationship. And a subclass may add additional attribute, operation, or relationship, and redefine inherited operation. Okay, like I said, okay, this is a subclass. Subclass can define their own operation, or they can add their own attribute. For example, this ones we can put subject code, for example, subject code. Okay, so this subject code attribute is only used by the student. So the superclass will not use this one. So whatever superclass have, the subclass also have. For example, NRIC, name, address, and so on. Okay, class. Yeah. So this is depend on your design decision, whether you want to use aggregation, you want to use composition, you want to use inheritance, or you want to implement a simple relationship, we call it association. Okay, so this is another inheriting attributes. I already give example, I think. Okay, this is for you read by yourself. Okay, so how you want to find the inheritance? It is important to evaluate all class for possible inheritance. Yeah, look for common behavior. So like I said, common behavior for person, yeah, which is I need to delete this one, otherwise you confuse. Okay, so common what do you call it? Common behavior, okay, operation and common state in class. Yeah? You need to look at uh, common things, yeah, common attribute and common operation, which can be reused by other class. So you think that some of the class attribute or operation can be reused, so you use the Generalization. Okay. I think that's all for inheritance. This is one of the relationship, how you want to link between one class to another class. Okay. So I repeat. So the relationship in class object got four type: association, okay, aggregation, composition, and inheritance, generalization. Okay, class. Thank you very much. See you later. Assalamualaikum. Very good morning.